Hello, rapid fire community. Turn 4 of Périers Ridge scenario from by Donahue, and of course rapid fire rules, the only ones. Let's see what happened. I already made this turn. I left as usual all dice just for you to see. I mean, and to make some quick references to the facts of the game. Also to the accidents also of the game somehow. Let's see what happened. I'm not going to bother you with the several parts of the turn, morale, chance observation, smoke shells, blah blah. I'm going to tell you what happened generically and from west to east. Okay, so let's see. So Germans managed to enter. They're already inside the table for a full turn. The second time they advance. Okay, they will try to swirl around the ridge over there, while the eastern attack is a little bit dissolved into penny packets of action because of the resistance of the British, and not only inside this first village, Biéville, if I'm not mistaken, I think, yeah. But especially because there is long range fire from the ridge, which means that they have to also to deal with that situation. So Germans advanced here. They met the fire of that 6-pounder. That was waiting for them, but as you can see from the dice, first a 6, then a 1. 6 means a hit, but 1 means that the 6-pounder gun probably was not on its best days. Here, once again, for the third consecutive time, 1. So this radio simply doesn't work. This radio is probably, it's something wrong with this radio. Probably a German spy sabotaged that thing or something like that. On the contrary, the German radio already managed to communicate with the artillery battery. Some bursts already exploding around the Achilles, but the dice over there were not enough to cause damage. The Achilles fired back at the main menace, which also fired on the Achilles, but couldn't do anything. And the Achilles fired back to this against this Panzer IV. As you can see, a 2 was not enough. To have a hit. So no second dice was rolled. On the other hand, the white dice is the German, which fired first. A 5 was not enough because not only the Panzer IV moved, but as it is an Achilles on top of a concealed position under protection, is on the other side of the ridge, held down position, right? So it means that that 5 was not enough for penetration. Here, this Panzer IV is gone from the last turn. The Panzer IV also got assistance from this self-propelled 75mm gun from the Panzer Grenadier units. So 3 different weapons, or groups of weapons, if you want, are trying to destroy the Achilles, but up to now it has not been possible. Those Shermans over there are are hidden, held down position, waiting for the Panzer onslaught on the coming from the western part of the battlefield. Those sections are in fact out of table. In fact, as this Lorraine here, but Lorraine SPs. The fact that I like to have them on the table because they look nice, like this. Here, what happened? Those 2 Shermans, one of them is a Firefly, try to hit the Panzer IVs, as you can see from the dice. Very bad dicing. 5 first, then a 1. 5 first, then a 1. So no destruction possible, even at close range. The Germans before that managed to knock out, to destroy completely that Firefly over there. And this guy was already hit from the previous turn, and it was finished by this side shot from this flank shot from this 75mm Sherman here. Dice were this 5 for the penetration and a 4 for the result, which was more than enough to cause second damage and the destruction of the Panzer IV that was already injured from previous shot. Here, plenty of action, mostly made by infantry from both sides. So let's see. Here, the Germans managed to get to that very dangerous position of the British. The British are in very bad position because they are being flanked. Of course, the problem is that the movement of the Germans was interrupted by ambush fire from this British here, who knocked out the MG fighter. You can see the dice here, and it managed to knock out the fighter. In the meantime, the infantry managed to leave the Schützenpanzerwagen and also poured some fire into the British infantry company and caused, as you can see, casualties. By the way, these are the kind of markers I've made in the last few days. I've made plenty of them. They are in fact plastic figures squashed into a blob of glue from a hot glue gun. Okay, it's very simple. You just need to use some tweezers to place the hands and the arms and legs into position, and then the glue makes the rest. The glue will effectively squash the figure against the stand. This kind of piece of card, thick card, that I use for my models. You can see more here, and they become quite nice because they really look like casualties. And then some relatively quick painting, and you have, I think, some relatively nice casualty markers. They're not part, of course, of the rules, but I like to use casualty markers because it's what I use with my American Civil War and Napoleonic figures. I use the rules written by Rich Hazenauer, which is the guy that wrote Fire and Fury and Age of Eagles. And in both sets of rules, plenty of this kind of markers are used, which is in fact markers that are easily blendable, if I can say so, into the tabletop. So they're very nice, and I like to use them. Here, so the Germans managed to knock out some British infantry. Here was even worse, because look at the amount of firepower: an MMG, a 37mm gun, the quick firing machine guns of the Germans also with their +1 bonus, and together with this SP 20mm gun, they almost virtually destroyed this British company defending the first brick wall. Here there was also some high explosive fire on one of the Shermans, but as you can see, no luck to this fire here. And by the way, look at the dice that this MMG, for instance, managed. So the MMG was placed here in the previous turn, so only now could fire, and apparently they managed quite well, as you can see. This is the dice also of the 20mm gun, so plenty of casualties caused in the British company. Here there is a very funny duel. This Panzer IV is trying not to go into protection, for not to lose the +1. Not the +1. If he moves, he will one point will be withdrawn from his dice. So he's using some luck to try to hit those Shermans over there, and he almost did it. But first shot, as you can see here, was not a lucky one. But the British also fired back, and as you can see, they couldn't also do much. So those 3s and that 4 over there is the 4 in fact was a penetration. Was a hit. Sorry, the 3 was nothing. The guns that are making these are 75mm mounted on the Sherman, and then that 4 obtained that miserable one. So the Panzer IV is still intact. At the same time, this group, these two guys here, which is a Piat anti-tank gun, managed to have a 6, and they faced alone like kamikaze this powerful Panzer IV, trying to get closer and placing some deadly shot into the driver's hatch, if I can say so. I mean, probably. I mean, I'm not sure at which point of the armor they were aiming, but I imagine it was that location. So a 6 was obtained, which allowed for a hero test. That's the name, right? And that hero test, after obtaining a 6, the fire itself was a 1, so nothing happened to the Panzer IV. Here on this other very deadly corner, there is another slaughter pen here, which reminds me the famous Gettysburg slaughter pen. Plenty of casualties here. Another British company was almost wiped out. In fact, the British are losing, already lost almost 2 full companies. These ones include they had a morale test and they had to withdraw here. The action here started with let me check the rules. Sorry for not to say rubbish more than usual. It was a close assault. Sorry, the Germans managed to go on top of these walls. Close assault was called. British, in fact, won that close assault, causing 2 casualties. But then the effect of the German fire from those guys over there, especially the flamethrower killed a lot of these poor British soldiers, like the dragon of Daenerys Targaryen, right? Which was also doing things like this, at least in the series that we all saw on the TV. This MMG is still mounting its device, so it's not in action yet. That M3 got closer to this armored personnel carrier, but couldn't obtain a hit. In the meantime, this firer was also killed, but the vehicle is still intact. And it's important for the British to destroy as many German vehicles as possible, because if 5 of them get to the top of the ridge and one of the villages is conquered, the game is lost for the British and won for the Germans. So I think this is a survey of what happened. What else? I think that 2-inch mortar also tried to hit this one here, but failed. There's that dice. I think it corresponds to the failing of the 2-inch mortar, and that's all. I have to do something with that 2-inch mortar over there because it's badly placed, and I think he will try to withdraw in the next, because there is no infantry here. The OP is also not very well placed because he's a little bit frightened by the presence of this German armor here, but I will have to do something with that, and probably I will take these guys out of this of Périers sur le Dan, because they're infantry here against this advance of German panzers probably will not give too many chances to the British. And I think it's the end of this turn. So see you in turn number 5. Okay, ciao ciao.